The lawyer's office smells like old leather and expensive wood polish. I sit across from Gary Patterson, my grandmother's estate attorney, while my parents flank me on either side. My father checks his watch. My mother scrolls through her phone. Neither of them wanted me here. Thank you all for coming, Gary begins, adjusting his reading glasses. As you know, Martha Lee's estate has been finalized. I'll be reading the relevant portions of her will today. My grandmother died 3 weeks ago at 87. Peaceful, in her sleep, exactly how she wanted to go. I spent every Sunday with her for the last 5 years. Brought her groceries, drove her to appointments, sat with her while she watched her soap operas and told me stories about immigrating from Taiwan in the 1960s. My brother Kyle was supposed to visit her too. Never did. Too busy with whatever he was busy with, which we all knew meant drugs, but nobody said out loud. Gary clears his throat. To my granddaughter Megan Lee, I leave my home at 447 Riverside Drive, all contents therein, and the sum of $240,000 from my savings and investment accounts. The words take a moment to land. A house. $240,000. My grandmother's entire estate, essentially. Left to me. My mother's phone clatters to the floor. What? My father's voice cuts through the silence. That can't be right. Gary looks up calmly. I assure you, Mr. Lee, this is correct. Martha was very clear about her wishes. What about Kyle? What about our son? Martha made no provisions for Kyle in her will. My mother's face has gone white. But we told her, we explained that Kyle needs help, that he's struggling, that he needs money for rehab. Martha was aware of Kyle's situation, Gary says carefully. She chose to leave her estate to Megan. My father stands abruptly. This is unacceptable. Kyle is sick. He needs that money more than she does. He gestures at me like I'm not sitting right there. Megan has a job. She's fine. Kyle needs help. Kyle needs consequences, I hear myself say. The words surprise me with their steadiness. Not $240,000 to overdose with. My mother gasps. How dare you? Your brother is suffering from a disease. A disease he's had for 8 years while you've enabled every step of the way. We've been trying to help him. You've been giving him money. There's a difference. My father points at me, his face red. You'll share that inheritance with your brother. It's the right thing to do. No. Megan, Grandma left it to me. Not to Kyle. Not to you. To me. She made that choice knowing exactly what she was doing. Gary interjects smoothly. The will is legally binding. Megan has no obligation to share her inheritance. My father turns his fury on the lawyer. We'll contest it. Martha wasn't in her right mind at the end. She was evaluated by 2 physicians when she updated her will 6 months ago. Both confirmed her mental competency. You're welcome to contest, Mr. Lee, but I don't recommend wasting your money on legal fees you won't recover. We leave the office in hostile silence. In the parking lot, my mother grabs my arm. Please, Megan. Your brother is in trouble. Real trouble. He owes people money. Dangerous people. If he doesn't pay them back, then maybe he'll finally face real consequences. They'll hurt him. You'll give them the money instead. Like you always do. Like you've been doing for 8 years while I watched you drain your retirement and mortgage your house and enable him to keep using it. We're trying to keep him alive. You're keeping him sick. There's a difference. I drive away while my mother sobs in my father's arms. In my rearview mirror, they look small and broken. I feel nothing but a hollow ache where guilt is supposed to be. That evening, my father calls. We need $180,000 to pay off Kyle's debts and send him to a proper rehab facility. Long-term, residential, the kind that actually works. No. Megan, please. He's your brother. He's been my brother for 26 years. I've watched him steal from Grandma, from you, from me. I've bailed him out, covered for him, and believed his promises. I'm done. If something happens to him, it'll be on you. The accusation lands like a physical blow. If something happens to him, it'll be because of his choices. Not mine. You have the money to save him, and you're choosing not to. What kind of person does that make you? The kind who's tired of setting herself on fire to keep him warm. He hangs up. I sit in my apartment, staring at my phone, waiting for the guilt to crush me. It doesn't come. Just exhaustion. Just the bone-deep weariness of 8 years watching my family destroy themselves trying to save someone who doesn't want to be saved. 2 weeks later, my mother tries. She comes to my apartment with photos, Kyle as a baby, as a child, at his high school graduation before everything fell apart.
She cries.
She begs. She tells me about the dealers who've threatened him, the loan shark circling, the dangerous situation he's in. Mom, giving him money won't fix this. It never has. This time is different. We have a bed reserved at Serenity Springs. 3 months, residential. He's agreed to go. He wants to get clean. He just needs the money to handle his debts first, so he can go in with a clear conscience. How much? $150,000. For the debts and the facility. That's less than what Dad asked for. What happened to $180,000? She looks away. We've managed to pull together some of it. You've given him more money already. We had some savings. Mom, you're supposed to retire in 3 years. You don't have savings to give away. He's our son, Megan. What are we supposed to do? Let him die. You're supposed to let him face the consequences of his actions. You're supposed to stop protecting him from reality.
Please.
I'm begging you. $150,000. That's all. We'll never ask again. You've never asked before. You've demanded, guilt, manipulated. This is the first time you've actually said please. And the answer is still no. She leaves without another word. 3 weeks after that, Kyle shows up at my apartment at 2 a.m. I don't know how he got past building security. He looks terrible, gaunt, shaking, pupils dilated. He tries to push past me into my apartment. I need money, Megan. I need it now.
No.
Those guys I owe, they're not playing around. They said if I don't pay by Friday, they're going to... He stops, starts crying. Please. I'm your brother. I'm begging you. Go to rehab, Kyle. I'll pay for rehab. Not your debts. Rehab. I can't go to rehab with this hanging over me. I need to clear the debts first.
No.
Rehab or nothing. That's the offer. You're just like Grandma.
Cold. Judgmental.
She never understood what it was like. She understood perfectly. That's why she left everything to me. He stares at me with such hatred that I take a step back. Then he turns and stumbles down the hallway. I watch him go, my hand shaking as I lock the door. I call my parents. Tell them Kyle came by, that he was high, that he tried to get money from me. My father's response is immediate. If you'd just helped him, he wouldn't be desperate enough to show up at your door in the middle of the night. If you'd stopped enabling him years ago, he wouldn't be desperate at all. You're going to regret this when he's dead. He hangs up before I can respond. 4 days later, my phone rings at 6 a.m. My mother, screaming. Incoherent. I catch words, hospital, overdose, Kyle, hurry. I drive to Sacred Heart Hospital in a daze. My parents are in the ICU waiting room. My mother's face is destroyed, red, swollen, aged a decade overnight. My father sits with his head in his hands. He's alive, my mother says when she sees me.
Barely.
They're doing everything they can. What happened? He overdosed. Fentanyl. A friend found him and called 911. If they'd been even 10 minutes later, she breaks down completely. A doctor appears. Young, tired, professional. Mr. and Mrs. Lee? Kyle's stable for now. We've administered naloxone, and he's breathing on his own. We'll need to monitor him closely for the next 24 hours, but the immediate crisis is past. My mother sobs with relief. My father asks about long-term damage, prognosis, and next steps. The doctor answers carefully, using words like fortunate and lucky and close call. After the doctor leaves, my father turns to me. His eyes are hollow, haunted. This is your fault. The words hang in the air like smoke. Excuse me? If you'd helped him, if you'd given him the money to pay off those debts and go to rehab, this wouldn't have happened. He overdosed because he took drugs, Dad. Not because I didn't give him money. He was desperate. He was in danger. You had the means to help and you refused. I offered to pay for rehab. He refused. He chose drugs over help. He was scared. Those dealers were threatening him. He needed to clear his head before he could focus on getting clean. That's not how addiction works. That's not how any of this works. My mother's voice is quiet, deadly. You killed your brother. You had the money to save him, and you let him die. He's not dead. He could have been. He almost was. And you would have had to live with that for the rest of your life, knowing you could have prevented it. I look between them, my parents, who I've watched sacrifice everything for my brother's addiction. who've enabled and funded and protected him from every consequence, who are now standing here in this ICU waiting room, blaming me for the choices he's made every day for 8 years. I'm leaving. Of course you are. My father spits. Running away, like you always do, abandoning your family when we need you most. I've been here for every crisis, every overdose, every arrest, every broken promise. I'm not running away. I'm choosing not to participate in your delusion anymore. I walk out, drive home, sit in my apartment staring at nothing. Kyle survives. Discharged after 3 days with a referral to outpatient treatment and a prescription for naloxone. My parents take him home. I don't visit. Don't call. Remove myself completely from the situation I've been trapped in for nearly a decade. My mother sends texts. Long, rambling messages about family obligations and how I've abandoned them. How they're struggling to keep Kyle safe without my help. How I'm selfish and cold and everything that's wrong with his family. I block her number after the 14th message. 6 weeks later, my father calls from an unknown number. I almost don't answer. Kyle's dead. The words don't land properly at first. They bounce off my brain, refusing to be processed. What? He overdosed again last night. This time the naloxone didn't work fast enough. He died in the ambulance. Static fills my ears. I'm sorry. Sorry isn't good enough. You could have saved him.
You chose not to.
His blood is on your hands. The line goes dead. I sit there for a long time. Then I start crying, not for Kyle exactly, but for the brother I lost years before he actually died. The one who existed before the addiction ate everything else away. The funeral is scheduled for Saturday. I don't want to go, but some twisted sense of obligation pulls me there anyway. The service is held at Morrison Funeral Home. I arrive early, slip into a back pew. My parents haven't seen me yet. They're surrounded by relatives, accepting condolences, playing the role of devastated parents. No one mentions the years of enabling, the money poured down an endless drain, the choices they made that kept him sick. The service begins. A pastor, who clearly didn't know Kyle, talks about lost potential and tragic illness, and how addiction is a disease that takes our loved ones too soon. Everything sanitized, made palatable for public consumption. Then my father stands to speak. Kyle was a bright light taken too soon, he begins, voice shaking with emotion. He struggled with addiction, yes. But he was fighting. He wanted to get clean. He was trying so hard. I feel myself tense. If only he'd gotten the help he needed. If only the people who had the resources to help him had chosen to do so. His eyes find me in the back row. If only his own sister had cared enough to save him when she had the chance. Murmurs ripple through the funeral home. Heads turn. People stare. My mother joins him at the podium. Megan inherited a substantial sum from our mother. Kyle needed that money to get clean. She refused to help. She chose money over her brother's life. And now he's gone. More stares. Judgment written across every face. The narrative is set. I let my brother die rather than share my inheritance. Something inside me snaps. I stand. Walk down the center aisle. Every eye tracks my movement. At the front, I face the congregation. My parents look simultaneously triumphant and horrified. I'd like to say something, I announce. The pastor looks uncertain. Perhaps after the service.
No. Now.
I turn to address the room. My parents just accused me of letting Kyle die. They told you I refused to help him. That I chose money over his life. I'd like to provide some context. My mother tries to interrupt. Megan, this isn't the time. When is the time, Mom? When is the appropriate moment to tell the truth about Kyle's addiction? About the 8 years you funded it? About the $200,000 you gave him that went straight into his veins? About the 15 rehab attempts you paid for that he walked out of within days? About the dealers you paid off, the apartments you rented that he destroyed, the cars you bought that he crashed? Silence. Complete, suffocating silence. Kyle didn't die because I refused to give him my inheritance. Kyle died because he was an addict who refused help. I offered to pay for rehab. Actual, long-term residential treatment. He refused. He wanted money for his dealers. Money to keep using. And when I said no, my parents blamed me for not enabling him the way they had for nearly a decade. I reach into my bag and pull out a small leather journal. Kyle's diary, found in the box of his possessions. My parents tried to hand me after his death. I'd taken it, started reading it last night. Haven't been able to stop. This is Kyle's diary. I found it in his things. Would you like to know what he wrote? What he actually thought about all the help you think you were giving him? My father lunges forward. You have no right. I have every right. You just blamed me for his death in front of everyone. Now you get to hear his truth. I opened to a marked page. Begin reading. March 15th. Mom gave me another $5,000 today. Said it was for rent. Bought enough fentanyl to last 2 weeks. She knows what I'm spending it on.
She has to know.
But it's easier to pretend, I guess. Easier than actually making me face reality. My mother's face crumbles. I flip pages. April 23rd. Dad called about rehab again.
Same speech.
Same promises that this time will be different. But we both know I'm not going. And we both know he'll keep giving me money anyway, because he can't stand to see me suffer. Except the suffering is the only thing that might actually wake me up. But they won't let me suffer. They won't let me hit bottom. So, I just keep using. My father sits down heavily. Another page. June 8th. Megan offered to pay for that long-term place in Oregon. 3 months, no phones, no visitors, actual treatment. I told her I couldn't go until I handled my debts. That was a lie. I just don't want to stop using. I'm not ready. Maybe I'll never be ready. But it's easier to blame circumstances than to admit I'm choosing this. I close the diary. Look at my parents. Kyle knew exactly what you were doing. He knew you were enabling him. He wrote about it constantly. About how your money kept him sick. About how your inability to let him face consequences made it impossible for him to get better. He even wrote about me. I opened to the last entry, dated 2 days before his final overdose. Megan's the only one who ever told me the truth. That I'm killing myself. That I need to choose recovery instead of waiting for it to be easy. That no amount of money will fix what's broken inside me. I hate her for it. But she's right. She's the only one who's been right this whole time. Mom and Dad love me too much to let me save myself. Megan loved me enough to try. My voice breaks on the last word. I closed the diary and set it on Kyle's casket. My brother died because of his addiction. Not because I didn't give him money. Not because I didn't care. But because he was sick and the people who were supposed to help him just kept making it easier to stay sick. I turned to my parents. You don't get to blame me for this. You don't get to make me the villain in your story, so you don't have to face what you did. Kyle knew the truth. And now everyone else does too. I walk back down the aisle. Behind me, chaos erupts. Voices raised. My mother sobbing. Relatives arguing. I don't look back. Outside, the autumn air is crisp and clean. I get in my car and drive. 3 days later, my uncle calls. My father's brother, someone I haven't spoken to in years. That took guts, he says. What you did at the funeral. I shouldn't have done it there. Maybe not. But it needed to be said. Your parents have been lying to themselves for years. Someone had to tell the truth. They'll never forgive me. Probably not. But you don't need their forgiveness. You didn't do anything wrong. After we hang up, I pull out Kyle's diary again. Read through it completely this time. Page after page of his awareness of his own destruction. His understanding that our parents were killing him with kindness. His resentment of me for being the only one who refused to participate in the enabling. And throughout it all, buried in the anger and self-loathing and desperation, gratitude. For the one person who loved him enough to say no. Megan sees me clearly. He wrote 3 months before he died. She sees the addict, not the son they wish I still was. She doesn't give me money, because she knows it's just poison wrapped in love. I hate that she's right. But she is. She's the only one who ever was. I'll never have a relationship with my parents again. They've made that clear through family members who call to tell me I'm no longer welcome at holidays, at family gatherings, at anything. They've rewritten history completely. I'm the villain who let their precious son die. But Kyle knew different. Kyle wrote it down in his own hand. And that's enough. My grandmother's inheritance sits in my account, untouched except for the down payment on a small house in the suburbs. The same house she wanted me to have. The fresh start she knew I'd need after years of being caught in my family's dysfunction. She understood. She'd watched it all from the outside, clear-eyed and unsentimental. She left everything to me not because she didn't love Kyle, but because she knew giving him money would kill him faster. It killed him anyway. Just took a little longer. But it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my inheritance that killed him. It was the disease, the addiction, the choices he made every single day. And the family who loved him too much to let him face the consequences that might have saved him. I didn't let Kyle die. I refuse to help him kill himself. There's a difference.
Kyle knew it.
I know it. And someday, maybe my parents will know it too. But I won't be there when they finally figure it out.